Before the day asks anything of you, notice where your attention has already gone. Perhaps your hand has reached for the phone before your heart has fully arrived. Perhaps you are reviewing a crowded calendar, anticipating a difficult conversation, or carrying yesterday's unresolved concern into another morning. Before your feet touch the floor, you may already be asking for something to change. And perhaps you are asking while feeling strangely far away. You still pray, you still read, serve, and believe. Yet inwardly, devotion can feel more functional than alive, as though your words are moving while your heart remains still. If that is where you are, do not mistake dryness for hypocrisy. The fact that you have returned is itself an expression of desire, quiet, imperfect, courageous desire. So let a deeper question enter the morning without forcing an immediate answer. What if your greatest need beneath today's visible requests is not simply for God to rearrange what awaits you, but for God to be near within it? There is nothing wrong with asking for help. Bring the schedule, the concern, the decision, and the conversation, but morning prayer offers more than the hope of a better arrangement. It invites communion with God through whatever the day may hold. We can ask Him to order our circumstances, and we can also invite Him to inhabit our attention, lead our choices, and transform the person walking through them. We will move slowly through scripture, honest reflection, and guided prayer. You will not be asked to manufacture emotion or pretend distance is closeness. For now, simply remain here. Let the question linger. What are you truly seeking when you ask God for help? And could even a familiar routine become the place where that deeper longing begins to speak? A familiar routine may have begun in sincere love. You set aside the time because you wanted to know God, to remember His faithfulness, to place your life before Him. But prolonged pressure can change the way you enter that time. What was once attentive can become hurried. What was once open can become guarded. What was once a meeting can begin to feel automatic. This does not mean the routine is false. Discipline can carry you when emotion cannot. Repeated prayer can be an expression of steadfast dependence. And there is no fault in bringing a list of needs, returning to the same concern, or asking again for help. Dependence belongs in prayer. Your practical life is not an interruption to communion with God. It is one of the places where communion is learned. The loss comes when prayer becomes only something to finish, only somewhere to run in crisis, or only a way to secure the result you have decided must come. Then the lips may speak while attention remains elsewhere. Requests may multiply without listening. Discipline may continue without openness. Activity may remain while the sense of relationship grows faint. If you recognize yourself here, let that recognition bring relief, not accusation. Awareness of distance is not proof that God has rejected you. It may be the very invitation by which He draws you out of guardedness and into truth. You do not need to abandon faithful habits. You need only stop using them to conceal the heart that needs to be known. So do not force warmth. Do not perform closeness. Begin with one unadorned admission: God, I am here, but part of my heart has been far away. That sentence is not failure, it is return. Honesty has opened the routine again. And now, with shame quieted, we can look more closely. What expectation has entered your prayers? And what have you begun to require before the relationship feels worthwhile? Sometimes the expectation is not spoken, yet it quietly shapes the encounter. I will seek, obey, and persist, and in return, the outcome I desire should arrive. This is the hidden bargain of transactional prayer. It does not always sound demanding. It may sound earnest, disciplined, even faithful. The issue is not the sincerity of the request, but the condition forming beneath it. Peace is postponed until the schedule becomes manageable. Trust is withheld until clarity comes. Gratitude waits for provision. Confidence rises when progress can be seen and falls when nothing appears to move. Slowly, the answer becomes the measure of God's nearness, and the relationship feels secure only when circumstances seem to confirm that He is listening. There are tender reasons this happens. Fear wants guarantees. Exhaustion wants relief without another delay. Disappointment wants proof that hope has not been misplaced. Control wants a pattern it can understand and repeat. These impulses do not make you foolish or faithless. They reveal where the heart has been trying to protect itself from uncertainty. And still, Bringing a real need to God is not selfish by definition. Ask for healing, ask for provision, guidance, reconciliation, and protection. Ask plainly and persistently. God's help is a gift, and dependence belongs in relationship. The deeper question is whether God remains welcome when his answer takes another form, or when the waiting continues longer than you believed you could bear. Without noticing, the heart can enter a painful cycle. Urgency becomes an attempt to control. Delay is interpreted as distance. Disappointment leads to emotional withdrawal, and withdrawal makes the next prayer feel even more mechanical. Then we return, but cautiously. We speak, but hold something back. We ask again, while quietly requiring visible change before closeness feels safe. So let this question remain private before God. If the circumstance stayed difficult today, would you still desire to walk closely with him through it? Not because the need no longer matters, not because delay does not hurt, but because no outcome can take God's place at the center of prayer. This is the test Scripture now places before us. Moses was offered forward movement, yet he refused to treat progress as enough without the presence of God. In Exodus 33, the tension is not whether a road exists. A destination still lies ahead, and movement remains possible. Yet Moses recognizes a loss so severe that no successful arrival could repair it. To continue without God's presence would be to gain the journey and lose what made the journey worth taking. When Moses says that he will not go unless God goes with them, he is not refusing obedience until every question is answered. He is refusing separation. He does not ask merely for safe passage, useful direction, or a completed assignment. He wants the one whose companionship gives direction its purpose and arrival its meaning. That is the difference between two desires we may carry into prayer at daybreak. Make everything go my way, and do not let me go through anything apart from you. The first asks God to serve the preferred result. The second still asks for help, but places relationship before relief. Perhaps the meeting will remain unchanged. Perhaps an answer will be delayed. A responsibility will ask more than feels available, or a family concern will follow you into another uncertain decision. Moses' example does not tell you to ignore these things. It teaches you to enter them accompanied to seek wisdom, take the next faithful step, and keep asking without making God useful only when he produces the outcome you prefer. Choosing presence is not passivity. It is active dependence, praying honestly, acting responsibly, and surrendering the demand to control the form or timing of the answer. Faith can move without possessing every detail. What it cannot do is treat divine companionship as optional. The right destination is not enough if the heart arrives there without having learned to walk with God. So let this become a refrain beneath every practical request. Lord, more than an easier road, I need you with me on this road. Say it over what must be faced, what cannot yet be resolved, and what still hurts. Do not silence the request. Restore God to the center of it, and as the road before you becomes an invitation to companionship, let the dry place within you begin to name what it has been thirsting for. Psalm 63 gives the dry place a voice. The psalmist looks upon a land without water and recognizes an image of his own need. His surroundings are weary, and so is his soul, yet he does not disguise that condition with polished language. He names it plainly. He thirsts for God. That honesty matters. Dryness is not celebrated, but neither is it hidden. It becomes the place where desire can tell the truth, and perhaps your concern about feeling distant is not evidence that desire has disappeared. Perhaps the grief itself reveals that closeness still matters to you. You notice the emptiness because some part of you remembers what communion is worth. Still, thirst can be muted. Speed can keep you from hearing it. Productivity can make usefulness feel like wholeness. Reassurance can become something you chase from one voice to another. Distraction can offer temporary relief. Approval can imitate belonging. Constant problem solving can keep the heart occupied enough to avoid admitting what it cannot repair. None of these can satisfy the soul's deepest need. Improved circumstances may ease pressure, and practical answers may bring genuine help, but the soul was not made to live on relief alone. Beneath the wish for change is a desire no visible result can fully answer, to know God, to be known by Him, and to receive His nearness as treasure. So release the accusing question, why do I not feel more spiritual? Ask a truer one, what is my soul actually thirsty for this morning? Do not force an emotional peak. Longing may be quiet. It may arrive as little more than willingness, a faint ache, or the honest admission that substitutes have left you unsatisfied. That is enough to begin. Hold one of those substitutes before God, the one you reach for when nearness feels uncertain, and let this confession form within you. God, beneath all I am asking you to fix, my soul is thirsty for you. Once that thirst is named, the next movement is openness, bringing God not a managed appearance, but the guarded heart that longs to draw near. James 4 meets that longing with an invitation, draw near to God. But the invitation does not stand alone. It is surrounded by a call to humility, submission, and a heart no longer divided between surrender and self-rule. Nearness is not presented as a reward for appearing composed. It is the way of honest return. You do not draw near by producing the right mood. You do not obligate God to give you a sensation because you prayed with enough intensity or followed the correct method. Spiritual effort cannot be used as leverage. God's presence is received in relationship, and relationship asks for truth. So humility may look like this. Stop defending the hidden bargain. Admit the desire that wants God and the desire that still wants control. Release the demand to determine the form and timing of the answer. Bring the substitute you have depended upon, and receive mercy without first making yourself presentable. Perhaps your prayers have become careful because hope has been painful. You speak without fully risking trust, as though restrained words might protect you from another disappointment. Perhaps you withhold confidence until proof arrives. Perhaps you ask for direction while quietly resisting any direction that would require unwanted obedience. These are guarded prayers, but they are not reasons to stay away. James directs the conflicted heart toward humble return. Honesty does not repel God. Confession is not the door closing. It is the heart ceasing to hide. You may come uncertain, reluctant, disappointed, and still willing. You may come with desire that is divided but no longer disguised. Now let your body share in that openness. Unclench your hands, lower your shoulders, slow your breath. Become present to the God you are addressing. Do not reach for polished words. Simply remain. Carry one concrete request into the prayer ahead. Carry one honest confession. Carry the substitute you have used to protect yourself. Stay here, not to perform nearness, but to welcome it. Let this quiet pause become your first act of surrender. God, here is the heart I actually have. I bring it near to you. Holy God, you are present, attentive, and merciful. You are worthy of reverence, yet you welcome me with tenderness. I come without demanding an immediate feeling, a sudden certainty, or a sign that proves this moment has worked. I come because you are God, and because you have invited me near. Thank you for receiving the needs I have brought many times. Thank you for caring about ordinary concerns as well as hidden wounds. I do not have to minimize what matters to me in order to appear spiritually mature. I can ask for real help. I can speak plainly. I can return with the same need and know that dependence is not an offense to you. But I confess how easily I measure your goodness by speed, clarity, relief, and the arrival of the result I prefer. When the answer comes quickly, I call you close. When the way remains uncertain, I begin to question whether you are listening. Forgive the fear in me that seeks guarantees. Forgive the exhaustion that demands escape. Forgive the disappointment that withholds trust. Forgive the control that attempts to write the answer before placing the request in your hands. Now, Lord, I bring you the specific need I have been carrying. I name it before you in this quiet. You know what I desire, what I fear, and what I cannot resolve. Please help me, give what is truly needed. Open what should open, close what should close, and guide me in what faithfulness requires. Yet do not let success become a substitute for companionship. Do not let movement make me forget your presence. Do not let resolution become more precious to me than walking consciously with you. If the road changes, be my guide. If it remains difficult, keep me aware that I am not abandoned. Beneath my wish for change, my soul needs you. Beneath my search for relief, I desire the one no relief can replace. Draw me near in humility. Cleanse the motives divided between love and self-rule. Correct me where I resist you, and make me willing to receive mercy where shame tells me to withdraw. I release the timetable. I release the form the answer must take. I release the demand for emotional proof that you are working. I will continue to ask, continue to listen, and continue to trust. Let me say this slowly. God, I still bring you this need, but I want your presence more than I want control. Carry this surrendered desire with me now into every place this day requires me to enter. Be present, Lord, in my thoughts. Interrupt the spirals that make imagined outcomes feel inevitable. Expose the urgency that tells me everything must be solved at once. Guide my attention toward what is true, what is mine to do, and what can be entrusted to you. Be present in my emotions. Give me steadiness without numbness, courage without denial, and peace that does not depend upon every circumstance becoming settled. When fear rises, help me remain honest without becoming ruled by it. When grief or disappointment returns, let me feel what is real, while remembering that pain is not proof of your absence. Be present in my choices and my work. Give me wisdom to recognize what matters most, integrity when no one sees, patience when progress is slow, and strength for the responsibilities that remain. Keep surrender from becoming passivity. Teach me to act faithfully, without pretending I control the result. Be present in my relationships. Soften the defensive word before it is spoken. Help me notice the need hidden beneath another person's behavior. Give me humility to listen, to apologize, to forgive, and, when love requires it, to establish a wise boundary without bitterness. When I reach for my phone, turn my attention toward companionship rather than escape. When I review the schedule, show me where obedience belongs. When I enter the conversation, govern my tone. When the family concern presses upon me, hold us in mercy. When the uncertain decision remains uncertain, lead me one faithful step at a time. Let none of these become tests by which I decide whether you are good. Let them become places where I learn to walk with you. And be near to every person praying through prolonged waiting, grief, illness, financial pressure, strained relationships, or spiritual numbness. We do not presume to name the outcome. We ask for help, endurance, wisdom, comfort, and the grace to remain open to you. When requests are answered, make us grateful rather than self-sufficient. When answers are delayed, deepen dependence rather than withdrawal. With clarity or uncertainty, remain near. With relief or endurance, make us attentive. With visible change or patient waiting, teach us faithful love. None of us is the only one learning to seek you inside an unfinished story. Gather our separate burdens into shared prayer and carry us together into this day, responsible, compassionate, awake, and accompanied. Thank you, God, for being more than the giver of what I seek. You are the one I want to know, love, trust, obey, and worship. Your gifts matter, but they cannot replace you. Your help matters, but I do not want help detached from relationship. So I return to the question with which this morning began. What am I truly seeking when I ask you for help? I am still asking for provision, wisdom, healing, protection, and restored relationships. The needs have not vanished, the outcomes remain unfinished, but beneath every request, I am seeking the assurance of walking with you. Reorder this morning within me, your presence before my control, communion within every petition, faithfulness throughout the waiting, worship when the way opens, and worship when the way continues to demand courage. Let this be my declaration. God, I want your presence more than I want control. I will carry that sentence into the next ordinary action. I do not need to chase a powerful feeling or preserve a perfect moment. I can rise, begin what is mine to begin, and remember that you are near. And if you are praying with us, you may share that declaration or name one burden you want others to hold before God, not as a performance, not to prove your faith, simply as one person allowing a praying community to stand beside you. When the heart becomes hurried again, we can return. When it becomes guarded, we can return. When longing grows quiet, we can return. God, Give us grace to recognize your presence, welcome your companionship, and remain attentive to you throughout this day. Whether the road eases or stays hard, we belong to you, we worship you, and we will not walk alone.